here we are in my spice pantry, and I used to have tons of spices back in Puerto Rico, and every time I move I always accumulate. I mean, that's one of my weaknesses. I just love spices. So now I don't have that much room again, so I have to make sure that the only spices I get are the ones that I could use for multiple purposes in different kinds of foods. So here in my pantry, as you can see, I have basil, dill, 21 seasonings, rosemary, oregano, a grinder for pepper, and then I also have these little spices, because you really don't, unless you have a restaurant or you have a really big family, you really don't go through a lot of seasonings. So for example, I don't use a lot of thyme, and I used to buy the big Costco containers, and you know, spices kind of go rancid, so if you don't use them, after 3 months or so, you know, if it's not done, you have to toss it and, you know, buy it again and replace it, because it really makes a huge difference in the food when it's not as fresh. So I buy these little containers instead, and some of the ones I really don't use that frequent. Also, cayenne pepper. I use cayenne pepper in eggs, in just about anything that's not sweet, and sometimes even fruit. And cayenne pepper is a really good pepper because it helps speed up your metabolism, and it's really nutritious, and I can also put this in hot chocolate and it tastes really good. And let's see what else. Sea salt. Sea salt is really good because a little bit goes a long way. It's much more saltier than, if you could say that, saltier than the regular salt. So a little bit goes a long way, so you really don't have to use a lot of the salt. So this is a sea salt. I also have just oil. I use canola oil, olive oil, and sesame oil. And I love sesame oil because, again, when I make my stir fries with the rice and the vegetables, it makes it so it really gives it that really good Chinese taste. So I really love using sesame oil in a lot of my stir fries. I also, a staple, I mean, this goes together like peanut butter and jelly, is a balsamic vinegar and olive oil. And balsamic vinegar and olive oil I use in just about everything. Over tomatoes, in my salads, over a marinade, with strawberries and balsamic vinegar. I mean, these are always a main ingredients in my pantry, because they have multiple, you can use them in multiple ways. Now this is something that I have been craving since I was in Puerto Rico, because in Puerto Rico there isn't my favorite health food grocery store, and I used to use this a lot when I was in California, and this is a orange muscat champagne vinegar. And I also was going through YouTube, and I saw this other YouTube channel, and one of the girls was using this over pears, and I remembered how I used to use this so much. So the first thing I grabbed when I came to the grocery store was the vinegar, and you could use this again in dressings, over fruit, and it really makes a really big difference. And down here I basically have my tea and coffee bar, and I just recently picked these up at the health food grocery store. And they're little grinders that have chocolate coffee beans, and you grind it. So a little bit goes a long way over your coffee, over yogurt, and I just thought that these were really cool, so I got these. I use a lot of honey. If you can't afford organic honey, then you could go ahead and use the regular pure honey, even the one that comes in a little teddy bear. And a little bit, again, goes a long way. You can use it over yogurt, granola, your shakes. Another thing that I use a lot is tea. I use a lot of the peppermint tea and a lot of the green tea. And I use these together, so this is a staple in my kitchen as well. Lemon, I always have a bowl of lemon in my kitchen, because that's the first thing I go for when I wake up, is a cup of water with lemon. Again, it's like a shower, a bath internally. It's like you're cleaning your insides, and it's really refreshing and a good way to start your day. So lemons are always in my kitchen. Another thing that is really good to have in your kitchen and that I use a lot is vinegar, white vinegar, and apple cider vinegar. When you can't afford organic food, the best thing to do is to actually clean your food and your fruits, in a bowl of cold water with a couple of teaspoons of vinegar. And it really helps take off a lot of the pesticides and a lot of the dirt that covers and coats the fruits. And it's not like you're the same as buying organic, but you know what, you're at least eating more vegetables or more fruits, and they're a little bit cleaner than if you wouldn't use vinegar. So this is really good. And plus, you can use vinegar in just about anything. Cleaning, there's a multiple purposes for vinegar. And apple cider vinegar I use as dressings as well. So this is really good to have. So next I'm going to show you what I have in my freezer, and that's pretty much it. So in my refrigerator, in my freezer, what I do is I keep a lot of frozen fruit, because frozen fruit, again, it's less expensive than fresh fruit, especially if you buy organic. Organic fresh fruit is going to be a lot more expensive than if you were to buy regular frozen organic fruit. Sometimes even the frozen organic fruit is a little bit pricey, so I just go for the regular, frozen fruit. And I use these as syrup, marmalades. I put them inside a bowl in the microwave, and I sprinkle a little bit of stevia over it, and I let it melt, and I use that over French toast and pancakes, my flourless pancakes. So I have raspberries, blueberries, mango, and also frozen bananas. So what happens is that when the bananas start getting too ripe and nobody wants to eat them, I cut them in little pieces and I put them in plastic wrap. And then they're perfect for smoothies. You throw them in and you make smoothies, or you can either make ice cream, just blend the banana itself with a little bit of protein powder and unsweetened cocoa powder, and you have a delicious ice cream with just pure frozen bananas. I also use a lot of, I love the frozen bell pepper, because it's already cut, you don't have to cut it, and I just do not like cutting bell pepper, so it's already pre-cut for me, and all I have to do is just get a handful and put it in my skillet. So this is always in my refrigerator, in my freezer. It's always in my freezer too, and I don't know, most of you have been following me, I love dark chocolate. The darker the better, and this one is 85% cocoa, and I've actually tasted the regular cocoa bean, 100% cocoa, no sugar, no nothing, and ever since I've tasted that little bean, even 99% cocoa chocolate is already too sweet. So anyways, I always use this, and again, I melt it in the microwave in one of those cupcake little cups, throw a couple of nuts, some cranberries, and then once it's all melted, I put it in the freezer, and I have a little treat, and it's really good, and it's all portion controlled because my little cup is controlling how much I eat of it. So dark chocolate is always in my freezer, always in our freezer. Another key item that I always have in my freezer is Ezekiel bread. And Ezekiel bread I love because it's sprouted, and it doesn't have any, it's just very natural, and it has, I mean, if you read the ingredients, if I can find the ingredients, it's actually ingredients that God gave the Israelites to make bread. And so it has, it has, my gosh, I'm sorry, it has 4 grams of protein, which is really high, and it has 3 grams of fiber. And I love this because 1 slice is enough for me with almond butter or peanut butter, and I cut a couple of slices of banana and sprinkle over cinnamon, and it's like a complete meal, either for breakfast or a snack. So I usually get the regular kind, or the cinnamon raisin. And the reason I put it in my freezer is because it doesn't keep long outside, because it has such natural ingredients, so it lasts a lot longer if you put it in the freezer. I also put in my freezer all my nuts. I have hazelnuts, almonds, and sunflower seeds. And I keep them in my freezer so they don't become rancid, and they're always fresh. And if I want to warm them up, all I do is I put them over the skillet, or I put them in the oven and I roast them. And a really cool recipe that I learned for sunflower seeds, I get the unsalted kind. And what I do is I put them over the skillet and I put a little tablespoon of soy sauce, and they taste, once they roast with the soy sauce, they taste really, really good. So that's a really good treat and snack. I also keep my flaxseed meal inside my freezer, again, so it doesn't get rancid. And I put flaxseed in just about everything too. I put it over salads, I put it in my smoothies, I put it over my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches sometimes, in my yogurt. I mean, endless are the options that I use, and I put flaxseed meal. So that's basically what I have in my freezer, and now I'm going to take it to my refrigerator.